Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So just before we get going, I would like to address everybody out there that's listening and thank you very much for your cooperation during these hard times. I hope everybody is staying safe, and like I've said before, we'll get through this together. Thanks again for your cooperation. Okay, so we'll start our open session this evening with the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions? Any disclosures of interest this evening? We have no delegations. Resolution number 136-20, moved by Councillor Mullen, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that the minutes of the Council and Committee of the Whole meeting held April 28, 2020 be accepted as circulated. All those in favor? Very good. Thank you. Resolution number 137-20, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that the Council of the Township of Schreiber delay the second phase of signage installation and alterations to the year 2021, that any funds budgeted for signage in 2020 be carried over to the 2021 budget. All those in favor? And resolution number 138-20, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Mullins, that Council approve the Recreation Department's plan for a live stream quiz night. All in favor? Date to be determined. Resolution number 139-20, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that Council accept the 2019 annual summary report for the Schreiber wastewater treatment plant as prepared by the Ontario Clean Water Agency on behalf of the Township of Schreiber. All those in favor? Very good. And resolution number 140-20, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Mullins, that Council accept the 2019 annual record of water taking submission confirmation. All those in favor? Accounts for payment, no unfinished business, and no other business. So that brings to a conclusion the council part of our meeting. We will go into the committee of the whole with department reports and committee board minutes. First up is the Director of Operations report. Any questions on that? Flow meters?
Does this come out of the water sewer budget?
Yes. I believe so.
Have you got a ballpark figure read for the total cost on the flow meters, like a ballpark figure? I know State,
They did not give me a ballpark figure.
okay,
So 4,800 is.
It's just the plan, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a two-phase project. So, phase one will be all the design work, and phase two will be then the procurement and installation of those flow meters. So we'll be getting another report with the quote for the flow meters itself.
And there's 5, I believe, or 5?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on that? Then the next one is the raw turbidity meter. And that is a sum of $9,271 for a total of $94.19.
Plus that tax, 1.78% non-recoverable tax. What is that? Is that,
Yeah, it was non-recoverable.
what is that 1.78? Where does that come from?
But can you talk about the non-recoverable tax?
Aqua's like a township. They recover most of their taxes, so they don't charge us except for the tax that they don't have to pay,
No.
or have to pay, I should say.
Oh, okay.
So, there's no GST, there's just
Well,
okay,
just 1.78.
that's a better deal.
I mean, either way, we would rebate it to about that amount anyway.
So, how does everyone feel about that?
I mean, it's in the report that we have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's not like a choice, right?
okay,
I feel like we have to do it.
That's also the water and sewer budget?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
These reports, it's amazing how
Yeah.
expensive everything that they mandate you to do
oh,
is.
yeah. Yeah,
crazy.
sure. And
Pretty
every
much.
year, it's something that's different
Yeah.
every year.
They're
Every
nuts.
year.
Yep.
Next one up is TED report. Grow for Good grant.
So the update here was that unfortunately we didn't receive the grant tonight. Talked to our community economic development coordinator, and apparently the grant was quite competitive. I think there was very few. I don't think in Ontario there were any. There's one.
one,
Okay. Wow. Checked it out. So at least we tried our luck, and again, when we apply for any of these things, it's not a absolute waste, because we've developed now a project plan for this, and it's ready to go. Should any other funding opportunity pop up, we'd be ready to go and apply. Then again, it is a cost that we're looking to get for around $2,500, so something to even keep in mind for budgeting for capital.
it's, like I said, this is just for future reference. It's, for 2 years now, we've been trying to green up them lots. We've been trying to green up them lots downtown, and we can't get the money, so. And that would be $5,000, so. Just for,
For both lots?
yeah, and we'll look into it. I mean, if we gotta put it off for another year, so be it. But we'll have to take a good look at the budget.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
So then your recommendation would be to consider it for this year's budget instead of postponing it.
Consider it for this year's budget if the money's there. I mean, with the mess we're going through now, you can't,
Yeah.
one way or the other, we gotta look at the numbers before we could do anything, so I
Yeah.
totally understand that.
If it has to wait for a year.
Yeah, I totally understand
So
it,
be
but
it.
that's the,
Yeah. Okay, then the next one up is the Phase 1 A6 Trail upgrade. Successful tender.
So we received our tenders back on this project, and we're ready to enter into a contract with the bid winner, and the next stage is again going to be contract negotiation. It's quite a substantially expensive project, but then again, like we discussed, it's again leveraging a lot of money, and I'm quite excited about it. There was a point when I thought we might not be able to get it constructed this year, and got nervous in that sense because this funding opportunity, it's quite dynamic, and especially with the TCT application, we have to keep on applying year to year. So if we lost this construction season, and if we didn't get that grant, it means we would lose our opportunity. So it looks like all the stars aligned for this one, and we're eager to get going, tentatively by July to start construction.
Exciting.
Sounds good.
I think it's gonna be awesome. Just by
Yeah.
looking at some of the pictures.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
pictures.
was looking at some of them, wow,
Yeah.
that's,
That'd be
Who,
huge.
who is doing the project?
We are aiming to enter into a contract with Precambrian Natural Surface Trails.
they're out of Thunder Bay. Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay.
And they've done a lot of some previous work, so
Okay.
have we talked to anybody that they've worked for in the past?
I believe part of that, what they were looking at was a lot of research that Matt Brusky had
Right,
done.
right.
He was quite familiar with a lot of the bidders and their
Yeah.
work.
I mean, the pictures, he's
Yeah,
showing the
pictures.
pictures of the previous work. Looks awesome. Is that the final, I see on the billing portion that the final billing will be dependent upon the length of the trail.
Yeah, ultimately, we have a fixed budget, so
So how does that,
we will work with the wording in the contract to make
Okay.
sure that it's,
it fits,
yeah,
that's the amount of money there is? and-
yeah, that we deliver what we're expecting with
Yeah,
that amount.
okay.
Okay, any other questions on that? We'll move on to the bylaw enforcement report. Any questions there?
With the snow melting and all that, are we gonna start going around doing some property standard look arounds?
Yeah.
Typically, it coincides with spring cleanup, but there's no spring cleanup, right? So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be likely doing that shortly.
Okay.
We'll have to figure out the logistics, as we can't use the
Right.
same car.
Yeah, yeah.
Put someone in the trunk.
Yeah, okay.
Alrighty, any questions on that then? Next is the Senior Center Committee report. Any questions on that one?
I think they've been busy with a few things with the senior committee, and bingo seemed to be a big hit with everyone
Yeah.
in the community.
Yeah.
And then the phone list was given out to committee members to just call in seniors in the community and seeing how everybody was doing, and just, if there was any issues, and forwarding that to, the proper people that could look after it, so
Yeah,
they're busy,
that's very good.
even though they're apart, they're still busy, so.
And some of the seniors are making masks for the hospital.
Yeah, right.
Hundreds and hundreds, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I
Both
talked-
communities are doing it.
Yeah, I
It's
talked to
great.
Nella the other day, and I think she had already done 300, and she was
Oh,
doing
yeah.
another 100 or 200, so.
They say she's just,
Yeah, there's 80 and there's a bunch of them doing it.
yeah, my wife's done that.
Yeah, my wife's done a few of them, yeah.
Another 80 to go, I think, or something. Yeah, it's great to see,
Yeah.
it really is. Okay, what's up next? The Seniors Response Fund Letter of Request.
So this was a bit of a funding request that was sent out, and we put in an application for that funding, and phone discussion with our senior coordinator. She wanted to look into the possibility of the Schreiber Senior Center Community Garden. Now, the full logistics of where exactly that's going to be is still a point of discussion. I should also point out that NOSH, the North Superior Health group, is also looking for a community garden as well. So we're looking basically to locate 2 community gardens. Should it be something that council sees as of value.
What about the one we already have?
That's the library.
There is one, yep.
Is it used?
It's, actually it was advertised today. They have 3 above grounds now that were advertised, and I can't remember the how many plots they had.
Okay.
But I was gonna say, on this, call it an application or whatever, I would think we'd wanna, or they would wanna, if they got the land, they'd want a fence right around it, so that's missing from there, the price of the fence.
Yeah, it has to be fenced in.
Yeah,
But I would
have-
think it would have to be fenced in,
Yeah.
I mean, for safety reasons, or,
Well,
well, that, go to all that hard work and then people start stealing all your produce.
Well, didn't that happen last year? They had to lock it up?
I think
Yeah.
so,
I think, didn't they close it?
the community one, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, Dan, that's right.
Huh.
Yeah, the logistics are also quite interesting, based on the location, and, first stage is, of course, with staff, we're trying to determine a location that's gonna be feasible, doesn't, interrupt our operations in any way, and has the capacity to have at least a hose installed to the site. There's also logistics again of zoning changes that will be needed wherever you're going to be locating this. So you need to really consult with the neighbors around to see if they're going to be, okay with this plan of this community garden located adjacent to them or in proximity to them. So it does have its bit of quirks to it and challenges which need to come full circle should it be implemented.
Well, personally, I think it's something we should try and promote,
Good.
I'm certainly in favor of it, as long as we can get everything done, there again, properly, and don't be breaking any rules or anything, which we always have to be aware of, but, yeah, I think it's a very good idea.
Yeah, I support it too.
When will they find out if they got the funding?
Hopefully soon. I don't know when the exact time limit is in the grant, but I think they're moving pretty quickly with determining.
Yeah, you'd want it soon, so they could,
Do something.
growing season around here
Yeah.
is pretty short.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody fine with that then?
Yeah, sure.
Are we?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Schreiber Public Library Board minutes. Any questions on that? Anything to add, Dave, or is there anything?
No, we had a Zoom board meeting 2
Oh,
weeks
yeah.
ago. Yeah, it went well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Worked out all right?
That was okay.
Everybody's getting used to it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Zoom or, what's the other one? Microsoft Teams or something like that? There's 2 or 3 of them.
Teams,
correct?
Messenger?
Yeah, but there was no questions or anything. I just gave them an update on what we were doing in response to the COVID. That was basically what their questions were about.
Okay, then the next up is the Aqua, March 2020 Water and Wastewater Monthly Report. Any questions on that? Then the next one is the water treatment report for March. Questions on that? And the last one is the work order summary from the wastewater treatment. Okay, then that does it for communications. Question period. There again, if anybody has any questions, Nathan.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions at home, make sure you send an email to info@schreiber.ca. Make sure in the subject of your email you have the title there, question period. It should, the question should relate to something on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. So the next up is communications. Anything under communications that you'd like to talk about?
That first one,
Community
not
gardens.
allowed us to community gardens
Yeah.
to use, so.
That was funny because
Yeah.
that was the, when we first were looking at the idea
Yeah.
of the community
Yeah.
gardens, we're like, wait a minute, they're
Yeah.
technically banned.
Yeah.
So you can see that the government is paying attention to the resolutions and all that the municipalities are passing,
Right.
because that did pop
Yeah,
up in one of the
that's right.
correspondences in the weeks before.
Anything else?
There's another, the town of Oakville there, which was putting in requests there for small business rent relief and immediate moratorium on commercial evictions and all. The government has decided to, move forward, and this is a program that's going to be initiated and handled by the CHF, the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Association, and this is going to be for the Canada Emergency Commercial Rent Assistance Program. So this is an interesting program for small businesses, and basically how it's going to work, and this is again a very summarized version, but the government will pay 50% of the rent. The business will pay 25%, or the renter will pay 25%, while the landlord will cancel 25% of the rent and then pledge not to evict that tenant for the period of time which this is happening. So again, it's very. I just gave a very, very brief summary, but you can look it up. It's the Canada Emergency Commercial Rent Assistance Program, and this is something that may be beneficial for any businesses and lease agreements. More or less an issue in downtown areas and larger communities.
I find it kind of interesting, talking about evictions. I mean, so if you throw somebody out, who's going to move in? Nobody can go out, right?
And I think that was kind of part of the idea of this program,
Yeah.
right? It's,
Yeah, really.
yeah, you're gonna take a 25% cut in your
Yeah.
rent, but at least
You've still got somebody there.
you're getting rent. So,
Well, it's good to see that the government there again is listening. And,
another interesting thing was the cannabis correspondence that also came through, so.
Mhm.
And that again was correlated with what we had passed before.
Mhm.
Essentially, that same issue, if you remember the report.
yeah,
Yeah.
odor and.
Odor and lighting, right? It's
Yeah.
becoming an issue in a lot of communities, and municipalities can't enforce it. You can only enforce it during the site planning stage.
Mhm.
So some municipalities are now, like Hamilton, are requesting authority to start enforcing it.
Okay, anything else under communications?
I just wanted to talk about, we did support Midland's letter for financial aid from the federal government. I'm just wondering if anybody heard any noise about any response on that request to provide financial aid to municipalities for tax relief? Any, hear anything, or?
I haven't heard or seen anything coming down the pipe so
No.
far, so, again, and it's, for a lot of small municipalities, this is gonna be huge if we have
Yeah.
that capacity. It means that, again, we're dealing with a lot of items on, our scope of work that are essential. So
Yeah,
we're not looking to, reduce anything, services or anything for people during this time. So hopefully the federal government or provincial
Yeah.
government can come through with some sort of program.
yeah, for sure. We'll wait for that.
Yeah. We have no unfinished business, so, other business, we have the 2020 AMO conference information. I guess basically they've canceled it, right?
No, it's gone virtual.
It's going virtual.
So the rooms, it looks like because they have the one-night deposit on the rooms as a regular policy, but it looks like that's going to be waived and we're going to get all of the rooms back. We're gonna get everything back that we've, all the booking fees. But the question is whether you're interested in attending. The cost is $600 per delegate for a virtual attendance.
Seems quite pricey for another go-to meeting.
And, somehow I don't think it would be the same, that's just my opinion.
Well, if you read it, a lot of the sessions are pre-recorded things, so it's not like
Right.
you can stop and ask someone a question.
That's right, you
or
can't ask
anything like
questions
that,
on it, you
right?
just gotta sit and listen, more or less.
And
Yeah.
whatever comes out of it, you should be able to see it a day later or a
Yes.
week later.
Yep.
I mean, you
Yep.
can review all those videos. I mean,
Yeah.
everything's.
Yeah.
The good thing with that is you can, watch it whenever it's
At your
convenient to
at your
you.
leisure,
but,
Right.
Again, I think the real main value for a lot of these conferences are the opportunities to network
Mhm.
and meet with other regional municipalities.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But the other thing in there, it looks like, and I don't know, we'd have to dig a little more into it. It looks like you can still have like virtual, but you can still have delegations. Like, I mean, we're a town that always has issue. Every town that's always got issues, not just Schreiber, but if we can get a delegation going with one of the ministers or something like that, like how much is, what would be the way to do that? Like, I mean,
Well, I would imagine you'd have to have probably at least one delegate
yeah, well,
registered then for the conference.
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. Maybe we should look into it a little more, and if we can get a delegation or two, and then pay the $600 for
The only
Dave.
problem is you don't necessarily know about the delegations till sometimes right before, right?
Yeah. that's
Right.
Well,
That was-
yeah, that's true.
That was
That's
a
true,
question
but,
that was asked, is will there still be delegation meetings with the ministers? And the answer was yes. These are important aspect of the AMO conference. We're working on the details now and information will soon follow, so we'll have to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
really think about it, because I mean, we're all gonna need money.
So what's the deadline for registering for this thing?
There typically isn't a deadline, but
Yeah, so if we're getting.
sometimes the delegations it's the week of that you find out
Yeah.
that you've gotten
Yeah,
them,
you-
right?
So once we get more information on
On the delegations.
we'll have another discussion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll know something by next meeting.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know whether you can register one and if you could have multiple
Right.
people sitting in on the delegation then.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Hopefully it isn't pay to play.
Yeah.
One delegation per.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
No, that'd be great if,
Yeah, and maybe that's what they'll, let us know about when, how that works.
yeah.
Okay, then the last thing up, I guess, is the Eglisauben Golf Club request for funding. We have some,
Yeah, I was approached by a citizen about this, and I was just looking for the background information from you guys about it and what's going on,
Right, so.
or if
the-
anything's going on.
In the past, we had, right, a delegation from a citizen, the request was, Cecile, correct me if I'm right, it was about 5K,
$5,000.
1,000.
Yes, I think
And
so.
we followed up by stating that we would look into it during our budget meetings.
We have typically, over the years, we've done different types of donations.
We've done two donations for scorecards
Right.
in the amount of $400 each.
Okay. But what are your, the request was for $5,000. What's council's feeling?
Personally, Dave, I don't think the Schreiber taxpayer should be paying a subsidy to the golf club members or the golf course. It's not our asset, everybody knows that. It's well and fine Terrace Bay subsidizes the group, but I don't agree with going ahead with that for the benefit of 36 members who live in Schreiber, but I just wouldn't want it on my risk.
Okay, thanks for that,
What
Doug.
was the money for?
Just
Just
financial help for the club, apparently they're having trouble financially,
Yeah,
and
just offer general operating expenses, I guess, so.
Did they apply for it?
Was that request also a direct from the golf club executive, or how did that come across?
I believe 2 years ago, the executive had asked the community, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe, 2 years ago, the executive had asked for that. But we didn't, the council at that time decided not to. Last year, there was a delegation from Schreiber requesting
Right.
the same thing. And this year, it's the same person from Schreiber who is asking. Now, whether that is on behalf of their executive, I honestly don't know.
Right.
But I mean, the request has been made, so, what's everybody's feelings?
I mean, perhaps it might have a little more traction if it was an official request from the executive or something along those lines.
I don't know, I have a hard time, I kind of agree with Doug, but I really couldn't sit here and say yes or no right now without looking at the budget. I mean, 20 minutes ago, we were talking about one of our own assets we're trying to do for the last 2 years, and the 2 pieces of property we're trying to green up totals $5,000, and we're spinning our tires on that, and here we're talking about putting $5,000 into another community's asset. I don't know. I would definitely have to say no at this point in time. I gotta see some numbers, I gotta see the budget.
Did the grant and aid process lend itself to this situation?
I did bring that
No.
forward.
That would be the only
Not
thing
to
I
another
could,
community, would it? Is
oh,
that
because
not-
it's from an outside, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it would be a request from somebody in Schreiber, but the money would actually be going to Terrace Bay.
Yeah, so it doesn't work.
I'm not sure, we'd have to look at that. I'm not sure if the grant and aid would cover that or not.
That's the only thing I can see it
Yeah.
making
And
budgetary sense.
Yeah.
And the grant and aid process is the only tool we have at this point
Yeah.
to deal with requests like this.
Right.
And,
But like I say, historically, that's been for our community.
yeah, Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
it
there
makes,
is a whole policy
yeah.
of that.
Yeah,
too,
there is a
so.
policy behind the grant and aid
Yeah.
that
Okay.
you would have to, check out.
maybe that would be something to take a look at then.
Yeah.
And also, I do agree with Kevin, and, we should be looking at the budget and seeing if it can be fit in somewhere, and it may or may not be able to.
Yeah, I'd hate to,
No.
you can't say
Yeah.
yes and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
I'm trying to explain to people why their taxes are going up.
Yeah,
Because
so-
36, without getting into it,
Or why
You
there's,
know.
why there's dirt in between the lots and not grass.
Yeah, I don't think it's a simple decision, so.
no.
So
Not
do
at
we
all.
wanna, forego it until, after budget process? Or look at it during the budget process?
Yeah,
I would
like-
say during,
During the process?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then I guess look into that granted aid if it's applicable.
if it's applicable.
Doesn't sound like it is, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to look.
Well, we better look and make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, any other, comments or questions then?
I also agree with what Doug said, like a letter from the executive would be helpful as well, from the golf course.
Yeah. Alrighty, and that brings us to resolution number 141-20, moved by Councillor Mullen, seconded by Councillor Morrow. The meeting now adjourned at 7:37 PM. All in favor?
Wow. Guys are getting good at this.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in this evening, and stay safe.